The track that just might be America's premier road circuit in the modern day is the host of tonight's event in the Integrity Octane Series. This is the 6th round of the Integrity Octane Series season from the Circuit of the Americas, and at the moment the man fastest in qualifying is Seth Well, and the number 11 machine going to make it past the stripe that time by, and while she was the fastest Caitlin Haight was in practice, it will not be enough to usurp Well this time by provisional pole to the 88 machine as the number 11 keeps digging for just a bit more in the tire. However, 2 qualifying laps that have been timed are over, and very little time remains for those who have entered the session. Ryan Farrell going to be able to take it to third, and Kevin Matz now in the number 50 machine makes himself at home in position number 7. Nick Tarbuck going to be in 8th, Guillermo Alvarez will be in 9th, and finally Cody Smith will round out your top 10. I'm your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz. I hope you enjoy tonight's presentation as we kick things off in just a few minutes time here in Austin, and this road course is going to be over a 2.5 mile long circuit, so a bit longer than what we've seen all season long, and it won't be in the Fort Vernon Oval this time by. It will be a road circuit that every driver is putting themselves to the test in. As you can see, the number 18 machine going to be up hill climb here. It's going to be different altitudes, and the number 18 machine at the moment inside the top 10 and separated from the driver on pole by over 2 seconds, almost 2.5 seconds off the man in first, and that's going to be a big disparity. So far, the 20 time laps are within 19 seconds of your pole sitter, Caitlin Haight, the closest of which 2/10 off of the Seth Well machine. At the moment, both Haight and Well have been able to drop into the 2:13 range. However, only one has gotten down to the 2:13.7s. It's going to be Caitlin Haight stuck in the 2:13.9 segment with a 2:13.9.8, her fastest lap on the board thus far. As it is, good majority of the drivers in the back of the field, well, they have not gotten their qualifying laps in. Only 21 drivers have gotten a time lap. Bobby Ross going to be able to stick it into the 16th position. It's going to be Kyle Cooper in the 19th spot in the number 73 machine. His paint scheme will show up momentarily, and there it is. The White Claw, number 73, going to claw his way up a position or two that time by. Not the case, as Bobby Ross still has one more in him this time around. Nick Tarbuck has one more as well, as we got 40 seconds left on the clock, and the number 4 machine rounds the final turn here and now, currently about 2/10 off of the driver right in front of him, and Guillermo Alvarez is going to be able to go 2/10 up on him, and now Tarbuck's in 7th, but still almost 2 seconds off of your race leader in this qualifying session. 21 drivers have taken time laps, and only one of which will be the man on the top of the board. That's going to be Seth Well, as the number 18 machine continues to drive around the Circuit of the Americas. The driver in the number 88, fastest on the board here in Austin. Round 6's qualifying grid has been set, and it's going to be Seth Well, top of said board. Looks to be just about 27 odd drivers here tonight. It's going to be the final of which Stephen Wetton on the grid as your 5-minute warm-up going to begin here and now, and the 88 machine, one of the drivers will be eligible to go out and get any final adjustments made to that car, and he's going to be on his way as we get your starting grid up momentarily live on FTN. It's Seth Well, top of the board in qualifying, and now the first man out here in warm-up, and the second practice is used for good for these drivers at the very least, and using all this time, 5 minutes worth, to get maybe a lap or two in, get final adjustments, see how the car drives, and see how the short runs are, and even try to simulate some long run action, as we did have just about an hour's worth of practice before this point. So if you can get a bit more expertise on the car, it'll be recommended, as so far the 88 machine, the furthest man out in front here in warm-up. No the driver on frame besides your pole sitter for the 6th round of the season, and with a 2:13.7, that's going to be a lap hard to beat in the race pace, as well as, of course, in qualifying. So without further ado, let's get it on your way. This is your starting grid for the 6th round of the season here in the Integrity Octane Series. It's going to be the man in the number 88 machine, top of the board, Seth Well with a 2:13.704, and Caitlin Haight right beside him with a 2:13.9 2:08 deficit between the top two drivers, 0.2 of a second. Third man on the board going to be Ryan Farrell with a 2:14.167, and then Alan Dobbs going to have a 2:14.849. Rounding out your top five, the number 36 machine Will. That's going to be the Triple P Jacob Fife machine, 2:15.179. Then it's going to be Don Stevenson in sixth, about 0.6 off with a 23.9. When it comes out of the decimal point, 2:15.239. Nick Tarbuck going to be right there in seventh. Number 4 machine puts it in with a 2:15.420. Then it's going to be Kevin Matz in the 2:15.5 range there. Going to be a 2.15 on the second mark. Then 5:12, about a half second off of the man in fifth for the number 8 machine on the board. Going to be Guillermo Alvarez in the ninth spot with a 2:15.715. Then it's going to be Cody Smith, who rounds your top 10 in the Next Level Racing Chevrolet Camaro. Going to be a 2:16.15 for the number 18, and competition stacked up front. Nicholas Ward going to be 11th on the board with a 2:16.213. Ross Cato going to cater to the top dozen. Going to be outside row number 6, 2:16.46 for him. And Tom Wetmore, defending winner in this series, 2:16.837 for the man who won at Gateway. Matt Jonas going to be in the 14th spot, 2:18.3 for him. Joe Yates going to have a 2:18.598 at 15th, and 16th is Bobby Ross, 2:19.291. Colin Ginman going to have a 17th spot on the board secured. It's going to be the 04 machine with a 2:19.976. Jorge Canales going to be 18th. Kyle Cooper going to be 19th, and John Steele with a 2:27.238. Going to be position number 20. It's going to go as follows from here on out. Alan Rawell is going to be position number 21, gets the final time lap on the board, and it's going to be a 2:33.592 for the 43 cam. From there on out, going to be Jay Haishman in the 22nd position. That's going to be Boomer Logan in 23rd, in the number 94. Guy Peter in the number 8. Shelby Machine going to be in 24th. Randy Fias going to be 25th. And then Trevor Drago's 37 machine is 26th. Stephen Wetton's 27th spot with a 58 machine. That rounds out your starting grid here in the 6th round of the season from the circuit of the Americas. Michael Dwell, thank you for stopping by as we get things on our way. The playoff grid is going to be one to mention, as you can see on your screen. The drivers in and the drivers out. This is the storyline to watch, and it's going to be drivers on the green who are currently eligible for the playoffs. The drivers just behind are, of course, outside of the bubble. The formative stage of this season, we are still absolutely in, but we're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. 6 races in out of 30 on the season here, so watch out because it's slowly creeping up on us. That playoff run is, and that's going to be your playoff bubble. Going into tonight's event, we'll evaluate on this as the night goes on, as we get your starting grid, of course, off the screen, and get your ticker right back on it. Giving us just a moment, Seth Well has taken about a lap's worth of time in thus far, and currently here in warm-up, the man in the number 88, as well as, of course, every other driver, they all currently have 35 seconds remaining on the clock here, and Seth Well had a bit of an incident early into his warm-up lap here. It will not be validated for time, and so far it looks like no driver will come out as the victor in warm-up. Ross Cato going to be on your screen. Caitlin Haight going to be there as well, and she'll be able to round that almost hairpin-like turn there, coming out of the largest straightaway on the circuit and down the front stretch this time by Seth Well by 10 seconds of leeway. Going to be able to top the board here in warm-up with a 2:14.258. Going to be a bit sloppier than his qualifying run, but nonetheless fastest in qualifying and fastest in second practice. Almost like Formula 1 with 3 practices. We had 2 tonight, and qualifying going to be right in between the both of them. For without further ado, it's going to be the 88 machine who leads them off here in COTA, as it's going to be qualifying concluded. And now the race time, it's going to be here. It's going to be now 34 laps of action from the circuit of the Americas, and most likely we will not see any yellow flags. The man in the number 88 machine going to lead us through a shortened pace lap, and we will get it on our way from there. In Formula 1, of course, this track has been used since 2012, and it has seen standing starts for over a decade now. In NASCAR, as we've always done it, it's been rolling starts, standing starts, mostly seen in open wheel categories as well as other categories, including endurance. But that has been a bygone era for endurance for quite a while. The Le Mans 24-hour event used to have drivers run to their cars and get in immediately. At that point, by the 1960s, a major safety hazard. Drivers died in mass, and that stopped, and it ended up being a rolling start in Le Mans. But this is far from Le Mans, and this is a far different category. As it stands, a few drivers not on the circuit: Wetton, Logan, and Wetmore, to name a few. And when they're ready, and it looks like they will be now, we are going to be good to go to grab a gear and get things going here in Texas, as the iRacing official pace car, going to be the safety car later tonight on that Porsche 911, as we get it moving. Well, leads Caitlin Haight. And Caitlin, a number 11 machine, always has a brand new pace scheme to go along with the perfect storm of events she's had this season. A win at Auto Club, one of the drivers up front in the playoff bubble so far. And the number 11 right now carrying the colors of the Alpine Formula 1 team with the BWP pink and blue livery. It's got to be the Alpine Toyota out in front, and Alpine having some mid-pack success so far this year, and letting go of star talent of Fernando Alonso. And last time they went to the podium with a man in that number, well, it was the 11 machine for him. It was 2021 for Fernando Alonso. Of course, Esteban Ocon winning his first race for Alpine very early into the 2021 season, but 22 and 23 have been down years so far. Let's see if the number 11 machine can go back to the top of the board, but this time in a stock car, as the BWT pink and blue machine ran by Caitlin Haight, going to be right beside the National Guard number 88 of Seth Well. And both of these drivers have a lot of pace in their machines. Going to be Chevy on Toyota, and right behind him going to be two Chevys as well. Looks like the top scoring Ford going to be very far back in this field. Going to be Joe Yates at the moment. Not going to be front row Joe, but he will be leading off your Ford so far, it looks like. Down in 15th, Ross Cato in 12th, though. Going to be able to take that spot in the Fast Forward Esports number 12. But this time by, it's going to be the iRacing official pace car diving in as 34 laps from here on out. It's going to be led off by the man in that number 88. Time to get going. The National Guard 88 knows it, and here's going to be a spin before the start. Alan Dobbs goes around. We have a wreck before we get it going, and I don't believe we'll be going racing that time by. Green flag's out nonetheless, and Seth Well will not lead us through until he does. Green flag's out nonetheless. An uncertain start there for the leaders. It looks like it was Alan Dobbs who got real squirrely. Thankfully, everyone able to avoid them as they all come through turn one clean. That time around, Tom Wetmore gets caught up in the worst way. We'll check back immediately to check what happened to him. It just appears he started from pit road there, so the number 51 machine could have a bit of a different strategy. Tonight, we'll see whether or not that Tube Tech 51 is able to make it pay off as Seth Well out in front. Caitlin Haight going to be in second. Then it's going to be Ryan Farrell in the third spot, and Alan Dobbs going to be now currently in the fifth position. Despite getting it all loosened up, it seems like Dobbs able to make a nice and smooth recovery, putting himself back in the top five. A nice effort so far, but certainly not the way he wants to start it, as Tyre is going to get a bit warmed out immediately, and Jacob Fife going to go down to his side as Alan Dobbs able to diamond art that corner and try to make a run on Don Stevenson. That time, though, not going to be able to make much happen. We'll see if success is going to come to the man in that 05 machine as the night goes on. But Jacob Fife hot on his heels already. And what an eventful way to start it. It looks like so far a few drivers have gotten caught up. Cody Smith in the grass already. Randy Fage going to be just recovering. Tom Wetmore going to be able to get by two drivers already. Boomer Logan now going to be able to get by one in his own right. That's going to be Matt Jonas as Cody Smith falls back big time, and it looks like he'll be way back in position number 26. 26 drivers take it to the start of the green flag procedure. And it's going to be the driver of the 88 machine. It's Seth Well lead the way with Caitlin Hayden second. Ryan Farrell now going to be in third. And Don Stevenson holds on strong there in fourth. Alan Dobbs, the 05 machine who got it all loosened up at the start of this event, well, he's now going to be in fifth. And we'll check back a minute to give the viewers an insight on what happened to the Alan Dobbs machine. It looks like he's able to get right back up to his spot on the start, but check back 20 seconds. You see he goes down and around, and it looks like everyone able to avoid him. Nick Tarbuck real close to disaster, and they all get it going. Nicholas Ward might have got some damage, so did Joe Yakes, some contact, but as they all keep it moving, the man in that number 05 machine is still in the top five. Lap one led by Seth Well quite handily. And as they spread out, the number 88 machine far in front of the field, it's going to be now Ryan Farrell chasing in on the number 11 machine. It looks like the number 93 with the Extreme sponsorship going to be taking it to the extreme, and they will be fighting not side by side, but closer than any other pair of drivers so far, as one going to go into the grass that time by Guillermo. It's going to be one with a big troublesome maneuver, although right now it's going to be Guillermo Alvarez, who I believe his teammate in Jorge Ganal is going to be carrying that Guillermo Verse machinery, and the 84 right now that we're focusing on having a bit of trouble there. It's going to be one driver going way off the pace, and that's going to be Kyle Cooper. He saves it nonetheless, and John Steele right behind him now going to have to charge back up. It seems like both of which of these drivers will be able to make something happen as Don Stevenson goes way wide. No, Jacob Fife does, and now this is going to be a four-car battle for position number 4. They're going to go 4 wide. As a matter of fact, Stevenson's going to have to give, and he's going to be able to get a nice crossover move done on Alvarez, and Alvarez is going to be in the troublesome position. As we mentioned, the 83 holds on strong, and Stevenson now going to be side by side with Jacob Fife. And early in the going, aggression is noticeable, and it's going to be evident. The man of the 47 machine is struggling to hold on. The 83 going to be able to go down to the inside line, get it on Dobbs, but going to be a nice crossover from Dobbs this time by. He holds on to that 4th spot, and he will not be denied. It looks like running outside the podium, of course, not where he wants to be, but Alan Dobbs able to pick up 1 spot so far, and so far, so good. Despite the early incident, it looks like Dobbs will be able to hold on to the spots that he has, and he will continue to recover positions if he keeps up this pace. The likes of which, of course, we've seen from him before, but going to be a bit more wear on the tire, and that means an awful lot at a very warm circuit such as the Circuit of the Americas. Now, Austin, Texas, of course, one of the warmer locations in this country, and as a result, Alan Dobbs, with that extra scrape on the tire set, going to be a bit harder to manage as the run goes on. Right now, it might just be inconsequential, but depending on the way this track is configured on iRacing tonight, it could become a major piece to the puzzle. It all depends on the way these guys drive it, as it could be all about managing your aggression without thinking of tire. Sometimes we see that with the NASCAR Next-Gen machines on iRacing. Tire wear, more often than not, does not appear to be a major factor. Sometimes driver fatigue comes into the equation, but right now, one driver is absolutely not tired. It's going to be the man in that number, 88. Seth Well far out in front so far. Caitlin Haight going to be in second, and Ryan Farrell now going to be, of course, in third, holding on strong, about a half second off of the driver in the 11 machine. So far, your top 3 separated by 2 seconds. Second and third going to be separated by only 1/2 of a second, and 1/4 of that distance between third and the leader overall. Looking back to the remainder of the field right now, this appears to be one of the closest battles on the circuit. Cody Smith and Trevor Trago going to be able to share that other spot with a very intense battle in the back of the field. So far, the Next Level Racing number 18 machine able to keep himself intact and keep himself in tow with the 37 and down to the inside of every apex, hitting those apexes. Not going to be a big problem here at the Circuit of the Americas. You have an awful lot of space to make moves and make them quickly and easily, and efficiency is a must as the number 37 machine getting pressured big, and that side by Cody Smith able to take it in. As we look at their close-up drone shot, the 18 takes him through, and now Smith gets that spot, only for a switchback to be executed, but not properly. Now Trago's losing time, and Cody Smith gonna make it work along the line. He's now gonna be in 19th spot, gets it done. The man in that number 37. Trago now going to be in 20th. And with all this time, aggression might not be a force in play, as Cody Smith going to dive bomb it way wide, and Jensen Button made the comment after his debut at the Circuit of the Americas. In NASCAR, turns like this that would not be capable of being executed by a Formula 1 machine using that outside line. Well, here in the stock car world, you're able to do so and run way wide without much of a problem. You can even overtake drivers on the outside line if you're bold enough, and right now it's going to be Kyle Cooper defending on the outside line on Matt Jonas. That gives him the edge into the next corner, and he will be able to use it, although Jonas gets him on the inoptimal line, and now the momentum prevails, and it seems like if you have the speed, no matter where you could take it, you'll have the need for the spot, and you will be able to make it so. Matt Jonas gets it up to the 17th. Kyle Cooper now going to fall back to the man in the 18, and Cody Smith makes it so as the number 73 backs it into pit road. Retirement or a pit stop, we'll see, as it's going to be Trevor Drago spinning. As we mentioned, it's going to be a big moment for him, able to save it, keep it going. Kyle Cooper at the moment going to be able to come in. Alan Rama in 26th on the board tonight, looks to be your first retiree. We'll see whether or not the man in the 73 is the second. As it stands, it looks like he might not be. Backs into the pit road looking for some extra pit cycle, and that's what he's going to get. Seth Weldo out in front still by a second and a half, and Ryan Farrell losing time on Caitlin Haight. Second and third, they're separated by a second and a half once again. Alan Dobbs going to be in fourth. Jacob Fife rounds out your top five so far, and Guillermo Alvarez is going to be in sixth, as it seems like the battle up front has calmed down. Quite an awful lot. Don Stevenson was out in front, going to be way off the pace. He's been on pit road for about 40-odd seconds. We'll check back and see just why. He's going to be involved with a major wreck that we missed here. Let's find out just what happened. And Don Stevenson, 4 laps in, already going to be down on pit road for major damage. Kevin and Matt's involved, so let's find out just why. Stevenson gets on the outside of the turn number 1 and then gets right into Matt's, and then Nicholas Ward hits him, and he tries to get it going, going to back it down and reverse it. And it looks like that's going to be heartbreak, because you can see while he's spinning those tires, he's beached. His tires are not touching the circuit. They're in the middle, and he is unmovable there. And it's going to be unfortunate that the tires just get stuck in the perfect spot for disaster, and an imperfect spot for Don Stevenson, beaching it after contact with Matz and almost Joe Yakes there, as the man of the 88 holds on strong. Going to become 5 laps into the 35 that time by Seth Well has led them all thus far. And Noel out in front with Caitlin Haight there in second. Ryan Farrell going to be in third. These drivers up in front able to play nice and smooth aggression at road courses. It might not get you all too much, but right now Garland Gidman going to be able to hold on to the outside line. Not for long. Now Tom Wentworth going to be able to go for it. Ross Cato goes up high. It's going to be all about doing or doing too much, and you might see your car die as the 04 machine falls back big time there. Kevin Matz makes a spot up. You can see he gets back into the 14th. Ross Cato going to be in 13th, and now Wetmore laying down the law as the man in that number 51 goes out of the inside for the 11th spot, and he's going to be able to make it so that time through the Tube Tech 51. Tunnels his way in and gets it done for the spot. Of course, this is tentatively. It could change as the night goes on, and that appears to be not the case just yet, as Wetmore is able to pull away like a rocket ship through that segment. The early going going to be great for him. He's clawing positions back and forth, head over heels. That's going to be the number 51 machine making it through a major battle here with about 4 or 5 drivers, as the number 04 machine of Garland Gidman falls back into 15th from just outside the top 10. Outskirts of that top 10, he's now just within the top 15, as the number 84 machine of Jorge Canal is going to have a bit of pressure from Ross Cato this time by. They both come into one another, but not going to be contact. Side by side, inside, going to be held by Ross Cato, and now coming into the apex, will Kevin Matz think better of it? That he does. However, he has that optimal line and makes it so in the 84 just for now, as they go down the longest straightaway on the circuit, about 1 kilometer in length. And now they're going to be able to put it to the test when it comes to their hardware, when it comes to that raw horse power. And so far, Kevin Matz has that drag race by just about a car length, able to make it so. And Alvarez is going to have to think about this one. Of course, it's going to be the man in the 84. His teammate, I believe, as the 84 Roy Canales holds on strong in the 84 machine. His teammate, the 83, out in position number 6. Looking up front once again, it seems like no other driver in a battle. This is the closest of which on the circuit here. And the number 50 machine of Kevin Matz hold on strong here in Austin, Texas. It's going to be Ross Cato right behind the driver in the 51, and Tom Wetmore. And Wetmore winning last week, not up front right now, and unfortunately for his case, I don't know what it's going to take to get him up there, as it would mean that every driver in front of him is going to have a major mistake, as in these road course events, we don't ever see major yellows. If there's a wreck early on, that might cause it, but we were able to get by even after a pre-race incident. Now we're in full swing, and the drivers will be able to get going without much of a problem. Cause for caution, we will see very little of it, as the man in the number 51 machine holds on strong. I don't believe we'll have any other caution besides our staged break We are anticipating at about the halfway point in this run. That remains to be seen, though, if that's going to be taken away, as drivers have expressed their opinion that long green flag runs at a road course might just be the way to do it here in the Integrity Octane Series. Ryan Farrell, though, going to be top of the board in the number 93 machine when it comes to the battle for third. Overall, it's going to be Seth Well leading Caitlin Haight 1-2, and these two have been the class of the field all night long. Haight fastest in practice, and Seth Well fastest in practice too and qualifying. And now the man in the number 88 machine continues to pull away from the field. As it is, he's got a lead over Caitlin Haight of about 2 seconds. He's stretched it by about 0.3 of a second over the course of 3 laps here, so about 1/10 of a second a lap. Not major gain, but slow and steady. Wins the race a great jump, and that's all he needs to seal his case for victory as he comes up slowly but surely on Don Stevenson, the first man to be a lap down on pace. That would be Stevenson, as Kyle Cooper goes 1 down. That time by Alan Ralbo, going to be down a few laps as is. Kyle Cooper going to be the second retiree of the night. 24 drivers remain on the circuit here and now, as Stevenson holds on in position number 24. 34 out of course, 34. That's the checkered flag, but 6 laps in, we've had very little incident, as it's going to be Colin Kidman losing more and more time, now battling Cody Smith for the 15th spot. Guy Peacher going to be 19th. Trevor Trago having a bit of trouble keeping the car afoot. He's fallen back quite a few spots, and able to make a few up due to the race of attrition we've seen already. And now into position number 18. Boomer Logan going to be there in the 20th spot and gets it right through the apex, and you can see apexes are what you want to hit. Seth Well able to hit them effortlessly, riding aboard with the man in the 88 once again. And Well out in front, very little room for concern when it comes to his run so far. That man has been on a tear, and as it stands, we're getting oh so close to the 22 lap to go mark, 28 as is. So very shortly we will have our crank it up, going to be a bit earlier than most nights, 22 laps to go, so you always know what that means on FTN. The best cameras on iRacing, we love using them week after week, and right now the best drivers in the Integrity Octane Series when it comes down to the Circuit of the Americas are showing their true colors, and they're out in front flying with purpose. That time by for Seth Well, a 24-second lap, far from it, a 2-minute and 14-second lap with a 5.97 on the decimal point, about 0.3 better than Caitlin Haight. So it's going to be very marginal gains time after time. Going to be a 2:14.863 for the driver in the 11 machine. Ryan Farrell there in a third, just about quicker than both drivers up in front, with a bit of distance to make up. We'll see whether or not he's able to make it so on Haight and Well. Going to be a 2-for-1 combo to beat, and it's going to be a hard one to beat. Two of the best drivers here, and they continue to contend for victories time after time as Seth Well holds on strong in the National Guard, number 88. And guarding position, he has had not to do much of it, as so far, very little competition when it comes to the battle for the lead. The launch he got perfect, and it's going to be just about what he needs for maybe the entire race. Almost a quarter of the way in already, and the man in that number 88 machine knows it might just be a one-stopper on strategy. So if they do have that stage yellow, it'll be all equalized, and he will have free reign from there on out. Absolutely what he loves to see, as the man of the 88 machine, Seth Well, once again gets a bit squirrely. Biggest battle of the racing circuit, battle for the 10th spot here. Going to be Bobby Ross and Tom Wetmore. Wetmore going to be forced up high just a bit. They're going to be very close, a bit too close for comfort, as we get a real close drone shot. Wetmore tries to pull a fake out. That time by Bobby Ross does not take kindly. Going to be a major run off the apex there for the man in the 51 machine, and Bobby Ross going to have to hold on without much incident. There's the 44 machine down to the inside line once again, holding Tom Wetmore off. Ross Cato there as well, and every driver for themselves here in the Circuit of the Americas, down to the inside line, and once again of every apex, and it's going to be a big miss by Tom Wetmore as they come down the front straightaway next time around. Pit entry going to be right there in frame for a moment. Ross Cato makes it so on Wetmore, and down to the line once again, Bobby Ross gets it done in the 10th spot. Joe Yates, the next man to contend to when it comes to this battle for the 9th spot. Yates has been there, and Bobby Ross wants to be there, so it's going to be conflicting ideologies in that sense as it goes way wide. The man of the number 87 machine does. Able to hold on, though, as defense into the sweeping S's means an awful lot. One of the most iconic segments in the Circuit of the Americas, besides the first turn, is this left, right, back and forth run. And while it is artificially manufactured on pavement, it's just about as treacherous as any very very similar segment. Its contemporaries don't have the American aspect, the red, white, and blue. It might be close to the French circuit that, honestly, it's going to be slipping my name for a little while there. It's going to be, of course, the French circuit that we've seen in Formula 1 time and time once again. It is a very similar appeal to it. And actually, I'm going to have to look that one up because it's going to be slipping from my mind, and that's going to be, of course, the Circuit Paul Ricard. The Circuit Paul Ricard mostly has blue lines on it with a bit of red on the outskirts and maybe a little bit of white lines here and there, as that's about a universal racing thing. Red, white, and blue, a big theme for France, but a bigger theme for the United States, and everything's bigger in Texas. And right now, a big run for Bobby Ross as he holds on in front of Joe Yates here for the Battle of 9. Seth Well going to be in the number 88 machine. Caitlin Haight going to be in second. Ryan Farrell's in third. Once again, that's your podium recap. As we continue to look for battles, Tom Wetmore goes out of the inside on Joe Yates once again. And down to the inside, he's going to be able to go on the Indy Autosport number 87. And it's going to be not in Indianapolis, but a road course like the infield circuit at Indy. And right now, a custom very well. It seems the 87 machine has himself acclimated to the circuit. Nice defense, but offense has been the move for the Tom Wetmore machine. He gets himself right down to the inside. That time by has about a nose on him, and it's not going to be a nose that clears you. He'll need that cold car right out in front. He's getting closer and closer, but it's not going to be able to make anything happen so far. That's 9 laps into the 34. You got to fight that much harder to make a spot work it, and it's going to be Joe Yates who has to work it back to him. Wetmore able to make that apex that time through. Now he's going to be in position number 10. Chasing down as it's going to be one driver going down to the apex big time. That's Ross Cato making it by Joe Yates in that same vein. And 9 laps in out of 34 here in the Circuit of the Americas. And Ross Cato comes down to the line once again, going to be the man in that number 51, Tom Wetmore, in position number 10 as Bobby Ross holds on in 9th. So we're looking up to the front of the field once again. Nicholas Ward having a silent night in the 8th spot, and we got to give a lot of props to the man in that number 97. It looks like he got caught up in that very early race incident, not even at the green flag. On the final turn, before we got it all sorted out, everyone was able to keep it going. A bit of a confusing situation for some drivers, but Nicholas Ward, while getting almost banged up there from Alan Dobbs, losing a bit of time and losing a bit of patience, getting those tires spun, it seems like he's able to recover masterfully, and the man in that number 97 currently is in 8th. So a lot to be proud of here for his operation as the Coors 97 holds on strong, and Bill Elliott, who was sponsored by Coors for oh so long in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, was an ace in road courses, one of Riverside's early specialists, and eventually one of Riverside's late specialists. The Riverside Raceway, far from reality, unfortunately, has become a housing complex, or rather an urban development center in recent times, so you won't see much racing there. In the same vein, in California, you of course have Sonoma, but as it is right now, you won't see anything like Riverside. However, drivers like Bill Elliott carry that legacy on, and drivers like the man in the 97 in Nicholas Ward carry on a great show here in Texas, akin to the man who originally ran that paint scheme all those decades ago. And Nicholas Ward holds on in 8th as we continue to look through the field. Guillermo Alvarez in 7th as Nick Tarbuck now chasing down Jacob Fife for 5th. In the position number 5 machine of Jacob Fife holds on out in front. He's going to be right there, about 4/10 up on Nick Tarbuck. A very close margin between the both of these two drivers as they come down to the line. Once again, they're about 17 seconds off of your race leader here. So very far off of the leaders, but that's going to be with, of course, a grain of salt. These drivers seem to be the A-games here, bringing consistent laps in the 2:16 range. That time by Seth Well ran a 2:16.3, and that time by it's going to be a 2:15.082 for Caitlin Haight, so about a second faster, and gaining more and more time. The 11 machine is, and she might be able to make something happen as the night goes on here. As one driver not a lap down, Don Stevenson is to be able to hold on nice and smooth that time by about dead even with Noel. So while he is getting closer, Seth Well is, Stevenson has a lot of pace, and we saw him up front beforehand, but getting caught, beached in the middle of the track, nothing more he can do but suffer the consequences. The man who comes in as your points leader now going to lose a lot of points in the standings, currently going to be 23rd and last on that lead lap. He wants to hold on to that lead lap until our stage break comes in, and so far able to do a nice job of just that. He's going just a bit wide that time by, and Seth Well does not follow him through. And while the 47 puts the power down nicely, it's going to be not efficient enough. And an eloquent set of turns for the man in the 88 and Seth Well, and the turn of events has him in the beneficiary spot to make anything happen on any lapped machine as your race leader, 10 laps into the 34. Ross C.O.T.A getting closer and closer to the man in the number 51. That's going to be Dom Wetmore. And that time by, C.O.T.A, who's been oh so aggressive on corner entry and not as much on exit, has used his dive bombing technique to the fullest. Has not made contact with any driver, not that we're aware of just yet. Every driver he's battled with is still in the running. But right now, it seems like very few drivers have the ability to set it into a corner just like he does. Take a look. He's gained a bit of car length or two that time around. He does once again. And it's going to be Ross C.O.T.A getting closer on entry, but exit, he does have to compromise just a bit. And that time through, he does indeed. Wetmore getting gained in on, though, by Bobby Ross. It's going to be vice versa now, as it's going to be Wetmore closing the gap on the man in the 44 for Indy Autosport here. So it's going to be a very good run for the 87 machine. But right now, it's going to be the flag bearer in that number 44, as Ross and Yakes now split with the man in that 51 machine and the 12 machine respectively. And the Tube Tech 51 holds on to the 10th spot right now, chasing the single digits here in C.O.T.A. It's going to be Seth Well out in front, though, and it's going to be the 88 machine holding the torch for the number 88 Nexus Esports operation. Now to the inside line, we saw him run Nexus Esports colors very early into this season, but now going to be running the Dale Jr. National Guard colors, and it's going to be all about how he runs the line. He takes it so on Don Stevenson and makes it so. So Stevenson, the first man a lap down, and the next to be caught up to going to be Jay Haishman with Boomer Logan here. These two drivers have been in the Integrity Racing League, and right now they're having a good battle, but they aren't in jeopardy of being put one down. It looks like Seth Well is about 20 seconds away from them and has been able to gain about 5-10 seconds every lap. Not the greatest way to start it for a driver like Haishman or like Logan, but dialing in and knuckling down. That's the goal for both of these drivers so far. They have a lot of time to set themselves into a perfect set of mind, or a mindset, mind frame. It all matters here in a road course. You got to be on it every lap, and if you don't have it on it every single time, you're going to be in an awful lot of trouble. You need to have some semblance of a mindset and a plan to go with it, because if you don't have that mental fortitude, you will end up crumbling. No, I'm not going to say that's the issue for a guy like the man of the 94 or the man of the 06. Sometimes drivers are not accustomed to the road courses. It all comes down to how you plan it out over the night's run. Now, Caitlin Haight, the driver in the second spot, she's been able to put on a great show, and as the one in the BWT machine comes out of pit road here, and it's going to be two drivers going in. It's going to be the man in the 06 machine right there with Caitlin Haight, and pit cycle going to be on its way, and Seth Well chooses to stay out with drivers going in. Cody Smith already appears to have made a pit stop, and the driver in the 18 machine, Cody Smith, he's going to be able to make it so. Seth Well, the man in the 88, though, leads them, as Caitlin Haight going to be the first driver in that top three battle to go down pit road, and with a 19-second edge on fourth coming in, going to be just behind Dobbs, Fife, and Tarbuck as they come in this time through. Alan Dobbs now going to be in position number 3, and Jacob Fife getting pressured major by Nick Tarbuck himself as he puts it down on the driver of the 05 machine. That's Alan Dobbs right in front. And Seth Well out in front by a long shot here in Circuit of the Americas, and 23 laps remaining. Time is flying, and we're the longest circuits in the NASCAR schedule. It takes a lot to make it precisely around the track, and Seth Well has not lost all too much time on his absolute best. That time around for him, a 2:15.586, though Farrell Ryan ran a 2:14.991. So Ryan going to be faster the same way Caitlin Haight was, but she came down and currently going to be in the 8th spot, not losing all too much time despite that pit stop. So great for her operation, but Seth Well's strategy now going to be the key factor to the remainder of the race. We'll see whether or not he chooses to come down this time through, or if the next lap is the lap to be for him. As 23 laps to go, we have indeed on the board, and it's going to be now a total of 22 when Seth Well crosses that start finish line. And we're going to do it a bit early tonight since it is indeed 23 to go. You know what that means. It is going to be our TrackCams22.com Crank It Up, presenting the best cameras on the iRacing platform, and Seth Well putting on a great drive in his own right. TrackCams22.com, or TrackCams for Gormans. If you enjoy the cameras we use, make sure to, of course, leave a like on the channel and subscribe, but also check out the link in our description, TrackCams22.com. iRacing.com. Their Facebook page also going to be there at that link. Track Cams for Gorman, the best cameras on the iRacing platform, as we're going to crank it up with 23 laps to go uninterrupted and live on FTN. And the yellow flag is going to be out with 21 laps to go, and this is exactly the stage break that some drivers were banking on, and others, of course, not going to be happy all too much about, as 21 laps to do it. 14 laps in, it will be less than 20 when we go back under green, but Seth Well leading every one of which so far, the man in the number 88 holding on strong, live on FTN, the 6th round of the Integrity Octane Series, bringing it up to you live, as Seth Well has currently led every lap on the night thus far, leading them all. 21 laps to go. Our first 14 lap stint is in fact over, and with our first and only caution of the night here and now, every driver will have to get shuffled back into order and now have to reset the mindset entirely. As you can see, Don Sieba doing absolutely need this now right there with them. One lap down, Guy Petra is as well, and Trevor Trago, the first man, one down. Well, not anymore. He's going to be there in the number 37 machine, now back in the lead lap. And with the man in that 37, sticking to the plan, Trevor Drago holds on strong, and he's going to be position number 17. So as we get up to it, let's see whether or not Seth Well comes down pit roads to get oh so close. And this could be the one and only stop for a man like the number 88. Ryan Farrow going to be in second, Nick Tarbuck going to be in third, and Jacob Fife holds on in fourth position. Guillermo Alvarez going to be in fifth, and then Caitlin Hayton going to be in the sixth spot as they all round through the final segment once again. And down the start finish, Noel has chosen not to go down, and the remainder of the field, it looks like choosing not to just yet. Pit road might not be open, although drivers such as Alan Rowell appear to be right there, and so is Steven Wetton. The 27th and final man on the circuit is back in action, and it looks like mathematically we were able to pick up at least about 4 spots, and that's going to be an approximation based on those who are currently off of the track. We'll see if he gets on the circuit quickly enough, because it is possible he does not and has a bit of damage, although I don't believe that is all too probable, as he's only been on the circuit for about a lap or so's time. Maybe getting a penalty for missing the start, maybe not. We'll find out as Seth Well holds on in position number 1 and far out in front of the field he's been all night long with very little competition. However, it's going to be all about the pit stop, which we expect for every driver, and for the man in that number 88, it's expected to be coming very, very soon. Says Seth Well as we come to our 15th lap, of course, here and now, leading every single one of the laps beforehand. How you feeling?
Feeling okay, but you just scared the hell out of me. Feeling all right. I mean, I think we'll end up probably being, I think, second after the pit stop. I don't know how many people pitted. So it'll be interesting how it plays out.
And as it stands, it looks like a few drivers choosing not to pit just yet, but most of which have to go down for one stop on the night. So what's it going to be when it comes down to tire degradation? How's it been on your end so far, as we're almost halfway in?
We fell off like a second and a half, but that was partially my pace. Like, I just kind of backed it up, just scrolling around, knowing we're going to have a stage yellow. So I don't know entirely, honestly.
And it seems like tire strategy is not a given just yet. 20 laps to go in the race. How's it been overall besides that? As it seems like being able to lead every lap so far with not much problem. It is, of course, a lot of drivers chasing you right behind.
It's nice and clean air. I like just looking in the windshield most of the time and not looking at everywhere else. Can I ask you? Because I have no clue. How many people pitted before the stage?
Now, according to what we're seeing, it's about 3-4. If we're not counting, of course, the drivers who did retire, as we see a few have come out on the track for the first time. It's going to be, I think, the 11 machine, of course, the biggest of which, with some drivers in the back of the field, including Smith and the driver of the 94, no, the 06 of Jay Haishman as well. So very few drivers have. It's going to be a lot of drivers who have not.
Okay. All right. It's going to be fun then.
And it looks like tire divergence, it is going to be one in strategy, but Seth Well leads those staying out on the circuit thus far, 6 rounds in from the Circuit of the Americas. Thank you for stopping by.
Thanks.
As it is, it's of course going to be a level playing field, so the worry for the man of the 88 machine is that these drivers might have a bit of a problem when it comes to, of course, being out in front by a wide margin. That's not a problem on their end, but a problem on his end. If more drivers had gone in just a bit earlier, they might have the edge with getting the tires warmed up just right. But now, well knowing very few drivers are not off of his cycle, he might have less room to be concerned, as it's going to be a total of just about 3 drivers who have not, of course, gone in to pit road for this run. They'll go in perhaps next time by. Seth Well, though, still going to be out in front, and it's going to be Caitlin Hayden, the first of the drivers who is currently off of the cycle. So how do we get a word for the driver of the 11 machine? She's certainly up to something here, and something much different from the good majority of the field. So Caitlin Hayden currently going to be off cycle compared to the remainder of the field here. How's it been in the number 11 machine?
It's sort of been a little bit of a challenge out here, just trying to keep pace with Seth. He's super quick, so is Ryan. I just had to try something a little bit different, so I'll see how it goes.
And as it stands, trying something different might just be the move. Not a lot of drivers going with you there, but of course the strategy going to be not too separate, as a good majority of the drivers come down this time around, going to be able to lead a lap here. Well has led every one of which, but it looked like on that run, you're able to gain just a bit more time. So what was the key there?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that again? There was a lot of noise chatter going on, so I wasn't able to catch that.
When it comes down to the pit strategy, of course, drivers going in for tires, but it seemed like regardless of tires, you were able to catch up just a bit to Seth on that first run. So what was the key to success there?
Just really making sure I hit every single mark, like apex, breaking point, everything. But Seth really has me covered on like every aspect right now, just by that little bit. So it's going to be tough, but I should be good for a decent finish here tonight.
And it seems like a solid finish is in the cards for the number 11 machine. So out in front here, and while a few drivers have, of course, stuck to your strategy, not as many. What's the big fear when it comes down to having a better 4-lap older tire set, or is there going to be much of a difference at all?
I'm not sure if there's going to be too much of a difference. It's just going to be these long caution laps are going to really cool down the tires. So the first lap should be pretty interesting throughout the entire field. I don't know what exactly to expect, but I just hope that I'm not going off in like one of the big braking zones here.
And of course, hoping to keep it on track as we have a bit of time regardless of going about 1 lap to green next time around. So Caitlin Haight will cut it here and now. Any final thoughts before the race gets back on its way?
Not really. Just got to go back to focus and just see how it ends up.
Absolutely. The BWT number 11 Alpine Toyota out in front here in the Circuit of the Americas. Caitlin Haight, thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Bragging the number 11 back on her way. Cody Smith, your next level racing driver, going to be there in the second spot on the outside line. And since we have just a bit of time, once again, we'll take you to your first Next Level Racing promotional break here. Next Level Racing, high quality sim racing performance products since 2009. Be sure to visit nextlevelracing.com for all your sim racing needs, as we'll get back at it very shortly. Although I do appear we have just a bit more time under pacing. It's going to be about a lap and a half from here on out before we get it back under green. Cody Smith, your Next Level Racing driver, currently going to be in the second spot as Caitlin Haight, who leads the field in the Circuit of the Americas with 19 laps to go as we head to our first Next Level Racing advertisement break. We will be right back. And that's going to be your first Next Level Racing promotional break. Next Level Racing going to be the best way to get all of your sim racing needs covered. It's going to be nextlevelracing.com for more information. High quality sim racing performance products since 2009. And as we do still have just a bit of time here, we might as well ring up the man in that number 18 machine, as Cody Smith currently going to be second on the board in that number 18. So we'll see if we can get a word for the driver who carries the Next Level Racing banner here after our first Next Level Racing promotional break. The driver representing their colors currently going to be second on the board. So Cody Smith, a bit of a different tire strategy here, right behind your current race leader in Caitlin Haight. How's it been up in front here from the Circuit of the Americas?
Yeah, this track's fun. I got a little bit of a melee on the first lap there, so decided to cut the stage break short and maybe jump to the front. Don't think I have the speed to stay up probably in the top 5. Should have speed to stay in the top 10 for sure. But we'll see. We'll give it all it's worth.
And as we come out to just about our halfway mark from here on out, certainly a lot of time to find out what's in store for every driver. Now, tire is a big factor. A lot of drivers coming in this time by for pit stops. Then there's going to be 6 laps on your set so far. A good majority of the drivers on a 1-lap set. How big is degradation in a 5-lap span? Because we, of course, saw about 15 laps in succession before this.
Yeah, it's honestly not terrible. These things tend to, on the road courses for whatever reason, kind of run like a GT car. They tend to get faster as the fuel load gets lighter. So the fall off's not terrible. It does slide around a little more. That shouldn't be a huge issue. It's basically speed of the driver is more in play than anything.
And controlling the car is, of course, a must from the driver's perspective. How's it been otherwise? Because, of course, it seems like you'll be able to play it perfect to get out in front once again.
Yeah, I love this place. Like I said, the slipping and sliding around. I'm not a great road racer. I'd always look at it as a challenge, and it's something different to the ovals that we run every week. So I always look forward to these road races. I expect it to be a little faster than I am. We'll see what I can do up front here. See if we may be able to steal a few spots.
And that we will see. Cody Smith this time by. We will be going green, so we'll leave it back to you. Any final thoughts?
Nope, just thanks for coming out. I got to thank Next Level Racing for supporting the league. Yeah, have a good day.
And of course, going to be hoping to have a good day himself. Cody Smith, second on the board as is. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dave.
Back on the move, Cody Smith going to be as we get him right back into the driver's chat room. As we can see, 18 and the 11 hold on out in front. Now, the NASCAR Cup Series, the 18 and the 11 were number teammates way back when Joe Gibbs Racing ran, both of which the 54 machine replacing the number 18 in the Joe Gibbs camp as of recent. But as it stands, Caitlin Haight out in front with Cody Smith in second, Seth Dwell in third, Ryan Farrell getting right there in fourth, Nicholas Ward going to be fifth, Ross Cato sixth, and Jacob Fife going to be position number 7. Nick Tarbuck going to be 8th, Guillermo Alvarez going to be 9th, and rounding out your top 10 it is indeed Tom Wetmore in the number 51. Going to be Joe Yakes now right behind him as they go side by side and shuffle up just a bit. It's going to be Yakes there in the 11th spot, Bobby Ross going to be in 12th, and Kevin Matt's going to be in the 13th position, as then Jorge Canales holds on in the 14th position, and it's going to be Majanas, position number 15 with the number 15 machine as they shuffle in and out, down and around. We'll get back to it this time by 18 laps to go. 17 laps in. The cross flags are due to wave next time by as the iRacing official pace car will leave us back to the racing. Once again, an iRacing motorsport simulation. The reason these drivers are able to put on the great shows they do time after time. So if you want to enjoy all the action for your own, use our iRacing referral code in the description. It will mean the world if you did just that. We've had a lot of viewers use it beforehand. We always put all the funds we get back in iRacing credits into our broadcasting to ensure that we can make the best out of what we got week after week. And that is always the end goal live on FTN, so if you do enjoy the action, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world. As we get back to it live on FTN, the number 11 Caitlin Haight machine going to steal the show once more. And the BWT number 11, the Next Level Racing 18 there in tow, and 18 laps to go. The 18 going to be starting in second, as we'll have less than that in just about 3 turns time. Now, the Circuit of the Americas, of course, an exciting circuit, and Caitlin Haight predicting that there will be an exciting first lap because everyone's going to be able to shuffle once again. Now, on our only other restart of the night, or rather our only other start of the night, we did see a spin from Alan Dobbs, who has retired from tonight's event, but he retired after getting into the top 5, just not able to hold on as the night went on. It was a big save on his end to be able to get to the start normally after that spin, but now no mercy. Almost halfway in, and we'll be past halfway when we get back to the racing. Have to execute, and you have to execute often as we get back to the show. This time around, going to be the iRacing official pace car diving in for the final time tonight. Checkered flag, it's what they all want to reach, and this time by going to be the first turn to get there. Caitlin Haight leads them in this time by. The iRacing restart zone going to be able to take them into the DRS zone for Formula 1 machines, and the power going to be put down regardless. Green flags out once again for the Circuit of the Americas, led by the Caitlin Haight number 11 machine. Here we go once again. And it all appears to work out on that jump for the Caitlin Haight machine. The number 11 jumps out to a standing start, and it's going to be a standing start for every other driver, making them look like they all stand still. She's out there by about 7/10 of a second. Going to be Ryan Farrell there in second. Seth Well going to be in third, and then Cody Smith in fourth. Now, if you caught that racing action on the start, uninterrupted audio there, you could see that Seth Well took it down to the inside line, 3 wide on the inside himself, and now the 88 machine and Caitlin Haight self-admitting that he has her beat, might be able to beat them all out once again. He has to put the power down and put it down fast if he wants an opportunity to do just that. So far, he is in third, about 7/10 off of your leader and 5 off of Farrell Ryan when it comes down to the 10th of a second. So we will see whether or not it comes into play. The number 88 machine might just as we get back into it this time by. The cycle is in motion, and Caitlin Haight holds on with not much of an issue, even if those tires are just a bit older. Farrell Ryan, not here, but Ryan Farrell is. And you might notice that we are saying Ryan Farrell now, not Farrell Ryan. We got that situated. It turns out the iRacing name of the 93 machine was put in reverse on the iRacing registration form, and as a result, Ryan Farrell was not the name we were able to register. But now it's going to be Nicholas Ward side by side with Guillermo Alvarez, 2 drivers with underrated nights. And now they're putting each other to the test, and they will put each other to the test with force. Guillermo Alvarez is going to lose an awful lot of time there, and Nicholas Ward going to go down and around in the same vein. The 83 in trouble, and in big trouble, as he's going to fall down to the 13th, and Nicholas Ward falls much further. Instant replay on the matter will show you what just happened. And checking it back 30 seconds is going to be Nicholas Ward side by side with Guillermo Alvarez, and this one was brewing for quite a while. And you can see they were oh so close, and they tap, and they get into each other, and they just go further. Alvarez is going to be able to get back underway, but Nicholas Ward loses much more time as Alvarez puts the power down and gets by the 97. And while they're still close to one another, now far from making contact once more, at least at the very moment, as Don Stevenson falls back once again, and now he's going to have to come down pit road once more. In big trouble Stevenson has been in all night long, so he'll come back down to pit road once more. See what's up with him is Matt Jonas not getting into big situation as well. He will be in just a bit of trouble as he comes out of the strike once again. Jonas on the move, but not too quickly. He's in 16th, the number 15 machine is. And Caitlin Haight out in front, but now with some major pressure in second. Ryan Farrell right there in the mix, and it's going to be very close between the both of which of these drivers, as Caitlin Haight now going to be in second to Seth Well. And we'll have to check back on what happened, but it might not be over. And Well going to be out in front. But as they round the final segment of the back straightaway, powers down 110%. Farrell Ryan, of course not here, but Ryan Farrell losing big time as Ryan slowly but surely losing that momentum. Now it's going to be Caitlin Haight down to the inside line, and Seth Well looks to have gotten it done for the lead. We'll check back 30 seconds to see just how he did it, and that is how it looks like these drivers got into one another as a major wreck in the back happens, a major incident in the front. Thankfully, all drivers in this one are still going, but not without some chaos. So take a look once again. And Ryan Farrell getting in the back bumper for Caitlin Haight. It seems like a bit of a squirrely maneuver there. Goes way wide, the 88 machine right there, and Caitlin Haight starting to run away with it. It seems like Ryan goes down to the inside line, and Ryan Farrell makes it so, and they're almost going to touch each other, and Caitlin Haight has to break big time. A major lunge by Ryan Farrell, not going to be able to make it stick. He's in third as is, and the top 2 drivers continue to battle. That's going to be Caitlin Haight and Seth Well down to the line once again. Going to be 16 laps to go, and it's going to be Seth Well, position number 1, becoming 15 laps to go that time around. Now Caitlin Haight going to be off by half a second, and Ryan Farrell going to be right there in third. Then Cody Smith holding on strong in fourth, has Tom Wetmore in the top 5, so Wetmore's been able to gain 5 spots on this run so far, and it's going to be a heroic move for the man of the 93 machine, putting on the heroics there, and that's actually similar to a move we saw, I believe, last year from Alex Bowman, the Spire number 7 machine at the Circuit of the Americas, but not in the Cup Series. That was in the trucks. Now, that was a major maneuver because those 4 trucks going into one turn at the same time, and it did not work out for any one of which. Bowman sent it all too hard, and they beat and bang at that very same corner, and losing all that time trying to push the draft to his limits. Brian Farrell suffers from just that, and now Caitlin Haight losing time as a result, and it looks like the time lost from that major lockup will be something she has to hold on to for the remainder of this race. What could have been and what should have been for her, well, she's certainly going to have a mouthful after this one, as now Sethwell able to pull away once again, and Sethwell, untouchable so far tonight, has led most of this race. The entirety of the first stint did not lead under yellow, but back out in front under green, and it seems like a dominating night for him is just what he's going to have to see from his camp. As a 94 camp going to be in a bit of trouble. Boomer Logan down into the wall, gets it back going without much of an incident, and John Steele able to make it by as Boomer Logan gives up the spot, not to the man in the 47 machine, as he's already one lap down. Boomer Logan is, but Stevenson gets by one and almost gets by two in tandem, and currently Boomer Logan one lap down, and Don Stevenson a total of 38 seconds back on your race leader that time around. Seth Weldo out in front with 15 laps to go in, of course, the Circuit of the Americas. And you can see down the inside line of every apex, there is no room for error. It looks like the inside line, left or right, is where you want to be. And in the right turn, dominating the left turns in Austin, Texas. You want to make sure your rights are as good as your lefts, and the banking is a major part of the equation. Now, turn one of the Circuit of the Americas is a very, very crucial corner, and it's going to be one of its defining corners in ways that Formula One circuits have their own defining corners, such as the one in Silverstone. This is no Cops corner, this is no Maggots and Beckett's, but it is one of those corners you need to make perfectly, or your race might go down the drain, as we have seen before with Formula One drivers such as Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton making contact at hundreds of miles an hour, and it was almost about 200 miles an hour for both of them going through, I believe, Cops corner. And right now, 200 miles an hour, you're not hitting it here in the Circuit of the Americas, as these machines, the NASCAR Next-Gens, do not have enough downforce to produce that type of speed. But down the back straightaway, they can get it real quick. Don Stevenson right now through the front gets up to about 160 and backs it right down. And we'll see the speeds come alive as they go down the back, this time by the 88 of Sethwell, getting closer to the longest segment on the circuit, the mile-long back straightaway. We're not up to it just yet. It's going to be a kilo, I believe, as they go down into the fastest segment on the circuit. Sethwell going to be able to make it quicker than anyone's gone thus far. 130, 140, going to be able to get up to 150. Riding aboard with him, you'll see how fast they get it. It's going to be up to about 170 miles an hour and backing it down to the 171 mark and getting it down to first gear all the way down. Every gear is in use here in Texas, and everything's bigger in Texas. The gear lengths, they might just be, and the use of the gears certainly going to be that much more. Very few tracks you see first gear in use. The road course is, of course, the place to use them, as Sethwell getting back into it this time around. Caitlin Haight going to be in second, as the closest battle on the racing circuit at the moment going to be between two drivers way back on the leaders. It's going to be Colin Gidman and Matt Jonas, as Jonas going to go way wide there on Joe Yates. Yates able to make it, so that's going to be a major pass for him. And now Kevin Mass looking to pick up the scraps, and he'll be able to get closer to Colin Gidman. Now Gidman was running up as high as the 7th and 8th positions early on, lost a lot of time, fell back behind the battle outside the top 10. He was battling with drivers such as Tom Wetmore, and Wetmore now is in the 5th spot. So he was up there with the highest echelon of drivers, but unfortunately for his case, not what he wants to see out of that 04 machine, and certainly time to improve here as Kevin Math goes down the inside line on him, and through the right-hander here, they get closer and closer to yet another lap with 13 remaining on the board. You can see that as it stands, Colin Gidman holds on strong with very little margin for error. He's got 1, 2, almost 3 drivers behind him as Trevor Drago gets closer and closer. Don't want to make a mistake with all that many drivers following you through and through. And 22 laps in, how about we take a lap on board with the man in the number 88 machine in Sethwell. And that time by for Seth Well, a 2:14.055. However, Caitlin Haight was faster with a 2:13.776. And while Seth Well has been able to use minute hand movements to his advantage, as you saw in that onboard lap, he has not been at the level as Caitlin Haight has been through these last 2 or 3, as it seems like the older tires might be an advantage now, as the number 11 machine slowly but surely claws in on your race leader. The gap between the two now only going to be about a 1 second margin. Caitlin Haight getting closer and closer. Seth Well going to be in first. Caitlin Haight going to be in position number 2, but Ryan Farrell holds on in third and only a half second off the fastest driver on the track. Not a bad place to be in. Right now, it's going to be Cody Smith in 4th and Tom Wetmore in 5th. Ross Cato currently going to be just outside the battle for that top 5 spot. He's currently in 6th as Bobby Ross holds on in the 7th position. And now Guillermo Alvarez has an awful lot of pressure from Nicholas Ward. Once again, we've seen these two go out beforehand. Will it be another? We will find out as they are pushing to wit's end. That time by, Ward going to go down to the inside line, get a major exit there, and putting the power down as they go through side by side, and they're able to keep it going. Alvarez going to go way wide that time by, though, trying to use every inch of the track. Make sure another incident is avoided. And now Nicholas Ward gets by. It seems like the two have reconciled, and the racing incident we saw before was just that, a racing incident with much more implied or indicated between the two drivers, and that is great to see, as on the way the number 97 machine that Nicholas Ward is, and Guillermo Alvarez still chasing him down, as Guillermo Alvarez right there with Jacob Fife and Nick Tarbuck. Now, Tarbuck is the number 4 machine, started inside the top 10, now 1 spot outside of it, and Jacob Fife in the number 36. Gonna watch these two battle as hard as they can. Alvarez gonna lock it up just a bit. And now Fife knowing he might have an opportunity at not just 1 but 2 spots. Currently though, not just there just yet. He's just about a second and a half off of the man in the 9th spot. Currently there in 10th with pressure mounting on him. 23 laps in out of 24. Going to become now a total of 11 laps to go as we come down to lap number 24. Ryan Farrell makes his way through for the 2nd spot. And we'll check back half a minute to see just how that happened as they continue to battle. But right now, Ryan Farrell has the pace over every driver in the field. And it was Caitlin Haight the fastest, but now Ryan Farrell takes the top honor and gets it done off the exit of the final corner with a monstrous run. Gets all that draft, and while it is not the DRS zone for stock cars, he gets it done, and defense for Caitlin Haight does not play out all too well. The number 93 now gets himself up into the 2nd, and he's within a 1 second margin of your man up in front. Seth Well, who's led them all under green, now has some pressure being built by the man right behind him in the 2nd spot. Cody Smith going to be 4th on the board right now. Tom Wetmore going to be in 5th. Ross Cato now getting closer, 2 seconds off in the 6th spot. That time by Tom Wetmore about a 1/10 of a second slower than the man in that number 12 machine. And Nicholas Ward in the 97 there in 7th. Holds on strong. He's about 10 seconds off of Ross Cato and a second up on Guillermo Alvarez with Bobby Ross there in 9th. Jacob Fife going to be now in the 10th spot, and Nick Tarbuck going to be in 11th. And we see a bit of a slip there going off to the exit of the curb. Now Formula 1 very strict with its time penalties based on track limits, as one driver going to go way around that time by. The smoke billows for one, and that's going to be Bobby Ross. Ross able to hold on though as he loses 2 spots, and now Fife going to get into 9th, and Tarbuck gets into 10th. A big maneuver for both drivers, and we did not catch a glimpse at what happened to the man in the 44. And let's take a look at just what as he come down following both of the drivers that just passed him. And here's why. You can see he's caught up on the outside line and tries to get it right in, and then loses the left side brake, and now going to be way off the pace. Number 11 machine not there, but the number 44 slowly but surely trying to reel them back in once again. Seth Well out in front with a next level performance, and with 10 laps to go, you know what that means. Our second Next Level Racing promotional break. Next Level Racing, high quality sim racing performance products since 2009, and we greatly appreciate their support of the Integrity Racing League and the Fireball Talks NASCAR YouTube channel. Proud to present them as a $2,000 sim rig in value will be given away at the end of season for the Octane Series and the Ignite Series champions. Thank y'all. We'll be right back. Stay tuned for our Next Level Racing promotional break. And that was your second Next Level Racing promotional break. Once again, visit nextlevelracing.com for more information. Next Level Racing, high quality sim racing performance products since 2009, and we greatly appreciate their support in the Integrity Racing League, doing sim racing right since 2012, and right now, Seth Well doing Circuit of the Americas right. He's about a half second off though on Farrell Ryan. Well, Ryan Farrell, as now Farrell gaining slowly but surely as Seth Well holds on out in front. Ryan within about a half second, and that's the closest any of the driver has been all night long to the man in that number 88 machine. Competition is mounting, and the pressure going to be mounting as well. Undeniable. The 88 machine has something in his rearview mirror that he does not want to see, and he said earlier, he of course loves the feeling of only having to look at the drivers behind him, and as it looks like the top 5 is not scrolling, that might be a glitch on iRacing's end. Give us just a moment to make sure that that is not the case for much longer. Check just what's going on there. Give us just a moment. iRacing sometimes choose to do that to us as we get it right back rolling once again. It should be good to go. Seth Well, as we mentioned beforehand, looking at the rear view mirror, and you can see right behind him, the 93 machine is in tow. Caitlin Haight going to be in third, and Farrell Ryan not here, but Ryan Farrell is there. And the 93, the closest driver to any other driver in the mix so far. 26 laps in, out of 34, 9 laps to do it between two drivers, separated by 0.4 of a second. So as time is of the essence, it seems like time running out for any other driver besides these top two. Caitlin Haight running a great race herself, but it looks like the alternate tire strategy might not play out in her favor as the 88 machine continues to pull away, and it appears, Nancy, that the issue with the top 5 being the only drivers that were showed, well, that appears to be a bygone issue. As you can see, the remainder of the field will be on your screen from here on out. It looks like a scoring error might have caused that to happen, and it appears to be the case sometimes on iRacing. What happens usually, the first 5 drivers load up, and if a lap time is not set in a certain amount of time, you only see that specific set of drivers, and that might have caused something to go wrong in the warm-up, as Seth Well, the only man to get something done in warm-up, and that was, of course, a 1-lap showdown for him. The only driver to get 1 lap done in warm-up, and that might have cost us just a bit there, as 9 laps to go. The remainder of the field going to be on your screen. Seth Well out in front with a 93 in Ryan Farrell. Caitlin Haight going to be in third. Cody Smith going to be in fourth. Tom Wetmore rounds out your top 5 with Ross Cato in position number 6. Then it's going to be Nicholas Ward in 7th and Jacob Fife in 8th as the Bobby Ross machine holds on strong in the 9th spot, and Nick Tarbuck is right there in 10th. Guillermo Alvarez is going to be in 11th, though, and Jorge Canal is going to be in the 12th spot as Joe Yakes is there in 13th. And right now it's going to be a side-by-side battle between Matt Jonas and Kevin Matz. No, it's going to be Joe Yakes now and Kevin Matz as Matt Jonas follows back just a bit. And now down to the inside line, Kevin Matz makes it so. Joe Yakes right there in tow, and the 87 loses that spot for now. 13th spot going to be for the taking for the number 50 machine. He gets it done. We'll see how long he's able to hold on to it as Joe Yakes right behind him as they come through the final segment. Once again, going to be a left, then a right, and back in motion. The 87 machine is, as it appears our ticker is back in motion indeed there, and unfortunately we didn't have it going for a good majority of this one, but still a lot of time here for the racing to get done. And the man out in front, Seth Well, we've seen him about all race long, no matter if it has been up top, as Cody Smith going to be in big trouble there, and he's going to have a spin, it looks like off the first turn, and we'll find out just why. And here's about a 20-second replay to find out what's going on as Cody Smith goes into turn 1 alone, and he's going to get it spun as it's going to be a change in elevation off the curb that moves him, sends Tom Wetmore in a 4th, but Cody Smith holds on in the top 5, able to reconfigure his car and back in motion, but now with only a 1-second edge on Ross Cato. And even if he does fall back to Ross Cato, he'll have a 5-second buffer to the man in 7th and Nicholas Ward. So good for him, of course, but if he does lose that spot, bad for him in one way, but good in another. He'll still have a top 10 run locked in if he just keeps himself locked in as the driver and does not let that mistake get to him. Right now, it's going to be Ryan Farrell, though, losing more and more time. He lost some time in the same gap and we'll find out just why. It seems like it might be a slow down penalty, and you can see he goes down to the inside line, and we'll find out what caused him to get that penalty, as it looks like he dives it in once again. Maybe, maybe not, and he tries to go through, and it might have been a curb clip, and that we're not aware of, as it seems like he had about a 2-second slow down penalty, and he goes down to the inside line to defend Caitlin Haight if she did make it in. And it might be curb clipping for the man in the 93, and that causes a bit of a time penalty, and not good news at all, as the man in the 93 and Ryan Farrell holds on strong there in second, but now not going to be strong enough to make that time back up if he stays at the pace he's at the moment. That time by, well, the last time by, Seth Well was faster by 14 1/1000ths of a second, and as he is able to make it right by Randy Fiash there, he comes right back up the circuit. The man in the number 88 scores a 2:14.872. Ryan Farrell 2 seconds off exactly, so he does lose 2 seconds flat on that slowdown penalty, and that's going to be indicative of a major penalty due to the track limits on iRacing. Now in NASCAR, you might see drivers go all the way around the circuit. Here on iRacing, it's more like Formula One. The original track intended, of course, it was a track intended for Formula One, and it's driven much more like that on iRacing than it is in NASCAR, so a bit more restriction on how you drive it. And right now, Seth Well playing to those rules to a T, and the 93 has a bit of trouble struggling to follow them, and right now, 2 seconds lost on that lap. He has to regroup and put himself back into motion. His best lap that's been validated all night long is a 2:13.837, so it's evident he has the pace and the know-how to master a track just like the Circuit of the Americas. Seth Well just seems to be the man on the move. John Steele going to let him by that time by, so Well going to be able to make it so 28 laps into this event, and 7 laps remain for the man out in front, as it's going to be John Steele down to the inside line. Might be able to let a few of the drivers go. We'll see who he does. Ryan Farrell makes it by. Caitlin Haight going to be there. Tom Wetmore going to be in fourth, and Cody Smith right in the mix in position number 5. It's going to be Ross Cato, however, there in the 6th spot, and Nicholas Wood going to be in 7th, as Jacob Fife holds on strong. It's going to be Nicholas Wood going way wide that time by, and Fife might know that dude is relative, but he's still just a bit too far off to make something happen. So it's going to be about 2 seconds lost on that mistake for the 97, but he's in no man's land right now. He's 5 seconds in front of Jacob Fife, and now 3 seconds behind Ross Cato. So Ross knows he's not in any trouble to lose that spot, and it's Cody Smith not in any trouble to gain a spot or lose one. He's still going to be nice and smooth in 5th, as Tom Wetmore holds on strong there in 4th. 7 laps to go here for the Tube Tech number 51, and 7 laps to go. Might just become 6 this time by, and that it does, as Seth Well leads him down and in once again here in the Circuit of the Americas. Going to become 6 laps remaining, 29 laps in out of 34. Only 1 caution on the night, and that was your stage break. No reason for a caution for cause all night long, and that's indicative of the level of talent here in the Integrity Racing League. Now, these drivers are not road racers by trade, not most of them, but a driver like Caitlin Haight has one thing that most of these drivers do not have: a 4.99 A-class safety rating on iRacing for the road category. Now, we'll get into how that works out in just a moment. That moment is here and now. On iRacing, your safety rating is measured on a scale of 0 to 5 in decimal points. To make it a bit more precise and nuanced, measurement is provided by those points. Now, 4.99 is effectively the maximum you can get. 5 does not exist for any driver right now, and the A-Class is the highest you can get, short of being a world-class driver or a pro driver. And the road to pro for any series, it could be oval, it could be road, and of course the World Championship events like the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, they will give you an exception if you are not a pro road driver. Casey Kerwin, last season's Coke champion, was a pro driver in 2 ways: a pro road driver on his own accord, and of course the Coca-Cola champion with the oval. So these drivers, they do have a lot of time to, of course, practice their luck and their skill on the road courses on their own accord. iRacing, with its base package, does give you road machinery like the Radical SR8, the Mazda Miata, and of course, one of the all-time favorites for most drivers, and at one point was an official car, it's the Lara DW12, the Indy car of choice in the mid-2010s, and also include the Pontiac Solstice, the Volkswagen Jetta, the Pontiac is, of course, the Solstice, and the Renault Clio is one of the newest additions to the road course scene, alongside the Formula V and the Formula Ford 1600. So these guys have a lot of ability. These guys and gals have a lot of ability to make something happen on the road for the change, and Caitlin Haight with a 4.99 A-class safety rating, about the best license you can get short of becoming a professional. And right now, Seth Noel putting together the drive of a professional as he's come down to the line once again with 5 laps to go. And with that being said, we'll take you to your final Next Level Racing promotional break. It will be the shortest of which all night long, and we will be right back immediately. NextLevelRacing.com, high-quality sim racing performance products since 2009. Visit NextLevelRacing.com for more information as we return for these messages in a brief moment. And that is your third and final Next Level Racing promotional break on the night. Once again, Next Level Racing, high-quality sim racing performance products since 2009. Visit Next Level Racing for more information. Their website at nextlevelracing.com, the place to be for all the high-quality sim racing performance products you can possibly ask for. And Jacob Fife, who is currently running position number 8, said they came out with a new Ferrari licensed product very recently. If you want to check that out, be sure to check out their website. That's the one-stop shop for all Next Level Racing news. And of course, their support in this series is crucial to how we go on a day-by-day basis. We thank them once again for all the work they have done for this league. It means the world to have their support. As we get back into it once again, the driver in that number 36, Jacob Fife, holds on out in front. Seth Noel going to be in second. Not for long, he's going to be in first. And we saw him down in second about 10-15 laps ago. Now up in front by a wide margin. He's got it 2 seconds up on Ryan Farrell. Caitlin Haight going to be in third. Tom Wentworth going to be in fourth. And Cody Smith makes it so in position number 5, stealing the show. He's been able to hold on to the Next Level Racing number 18 machine quite well. So a next level performance for all your top 5 drivers, as the Circuit of the Americas is one of the hardest tracks to race at. As you can see a bit of tire smoke there right in front of Cody Smith, but nothing to be concerned about so far, as every driver putting together the final few laps, and consistency is key for most drivers right now. Anyway, you just want to make sure that you make it down to the checkered flag in one piece. And right now, every driver doing a great job of just that, as the priorities have shifted just a bit. And right now, coming out of the line once again, going to be 4 laps to go for Seth Well, as he makes it down to the start-finish line quite easily. Ryan Farrell getting right there in second, and while Farrell has gained about 1.5 seconds, it has not been enough to make anything happen on the man in that number 88. Stephen Wetton, 18 laps down as is set to take one more spot home and finish in the 24th position. Mathematically, that's the highest spot he can finish in, the number 58 machine, as 2 drivers retired about 9 laps beforehand, and one of which, well, Alan Dobbs in the 05 machine, he retired very early into the race, and now Wetton is in the car to pass him and get one more position in on the board. Seth Well in the number 88 machine going to be out in front. Ryan Farrell going to be there in second, 2.2 seconds off. With 4 to go, it might be possible, but it might not be probable, as they come down and in once again under another scoring tower. And Circuit of the Americas, like most road courses, does have a multitude of scoring towers for multiple reasons. Now, of course, one of which is going to be scoring. You need officials on every angle of the circuit. Not every road course you can see the entire track from one vantage point, and even if you can, you want to get an up close and personal feel for it, because there could be some calls missed in the actions due time. And if you make something happen incorrectly from the officiating standpoint during a race, it'll come back to bite you with fan support, and a lack of fan support might just be a problem for Texas. To keep note of Texas Motor Speedway, their only oval, well, the All-Star race and officiating mess might be one of the reasons they lost that All-Star date, and not to mention the track surface being unfavorable to racing and let alone driving. But the Circuit of the Americas does not have that issue, although we did see a chaotic event in the NASCAR Cup Series. These drivers have been able to put on a nice and smooth one at about half the Cup Series' distance, so without very many incidents, Seth Wells have been able to hold on without much reason to concern himself for anything more than his own driving, and all the focus putting it into the racing is to be able to put together. It's Seth Wells out in front, nice and steady once again, going to be able to make it 3 laps to go that time by for the man in that number 88. far from every other driver on the field. It looks like the closest is now going to be Ryan Farrell with 1 second, and it makes up 1 second last time around. It was a 1:13. Of course, now at 2:13, 2:9.60. He's going to spin, and he was gaining, but now he's going to lose it all. Ryan Farrell into the infield grass, and from second on the board, he gives it all up in one turn and one flick of the steering wheel. That's right up over the man of 93. And he lost it there, gets the brakes all the way smoked up, and tries to put the power down immediately, trying to win it all back in one swift motion. And that might be it for any other driver's chance, as Ryan Farrell gonna take a moment there to recollect himself, gets it into the wall, recovering, and while he is in third and Tom Wetmore is 7 seconds out, bad news, and it hits him at the worst time. The fastest man on the track slowing down more and more. It seemed that he would have a chance at the victory, but now Ryan Farrell falls down to the third, and Tom Wetmore, the next man up to have an opportunity. He's going to be running in fourth here, as Farrell, now 13 seconds off of Caitlin Hay, and Seth Well might be able to breathe just a bit easier, as the 88 machine losing his biggest competition just like that. And Ryan Farrell certainly going to have a bit of damage on the tires, but going to be a big damage. Of course, not just to his car, and looks like he's going to be able to keep going despite anything. It's going to be a big damage to his mindset here, and putting himself back into focus. Going to be a big challenge, as right now the 93 now into third, the final spot on the podium. He goes just a bit wide. The 93 machine does that time by, and now Tom Wetmore might have a chance at that podium position. We'll see, as he's currently going to be fourth on the board, and 19 seconds lost by Ryan Farrell on that lap alone. If he loses 6 more, Wetmore might have a chance, but it's one thing to pass a driver, it's one other thing to catch him, and vice versa. It's all the same in truth, as Seth Well takes him down once again with a total of 2 laps to go from the Circuit of the Americas here and now. He's going to lead him in COTA 6 rounds into the season, and Seth Well, one of the fastest drivers, race in, race out. And 4 seconds up on Caitlin Hay. He knows now the biggest mistake not to make is on that first turn. The banking, the altitude change, and the shift in direction. All of these factors lead to one major outcome, and it's a major outcome that Ryan Farrell, of course, did not like. Now let's see what he's got in store, as the timing going to be reset once again, and now with an even opportunity to make it so. Down to the stripe, made it, and now through turn 1, he's just got to keep it straight. He's not going to go all the way down to the apex, keeping it much safer than beforehand, as Tom Wetmore makes it right to the apron, and he's going to almost clip that apex perfectly there, and that's going to show you he's lost very little confidence in that car all night long. In fact, he's only gained confidence as he's found himself gaining time after time, position after position, and it's not lap after lap. It's been an incremental process, and his patience has given him every opportunity to make something happen later in the going. Cody Smith going to be in 5th right now. It's going to be Nicholas Ward in the 6th spot, and Bakugo fan 1, 2, 3 back on the board for Buffett Nancy Wetmore. Thank you all for stopping by, and Mike Goodwell as well. And we of course hope to see Mike Goodwell back on the racing circuit very soon, as Seth Well back up in front. He leads by almost 5 flat seconds. Look at this. Caitlin Hay going to be there in second. 93 machine Ryan Farrell going to be there in third. And finally going to be the Tom Wetmore machine fourth on the board. Rounding out your top 5 going to be Cody Smith in the Next Level Racing number 18 machine. Nicholas Ward, how about this man? He's right behind Stephen Wetton. He's had an underground race, so to speak. Very quiet, besides a bit of an incident there with Guillermo Alvarez. Alvarez is in 11th, but Nicholas Ward, who fell back far more positions, has been able to gain them all back, and now he's right within striking distance of the top 5. But this time by, one man within striking distance of the white flag is Seth Well, and he takes us down to the last segment once again. And the National Guard number 88 machine of, well, who else but Seth Well takes us to the final turn in the Circuit of the Americas. Once again, going to be 1 lap to go for the 88, and it seems to be a dominating performance for him all night long. It's been the pole sitter, takes us to the white flag one more time around here in the Circuit of the Americas. He just has to keep it on the track. 4 seconds, he could gain him, he could lose him. If he loses him, well, it's all game over, as the number 11 for BWT, a Formula 1 style performance with all of the light-footedness of one of those Formula 1 machines in a stock car. Caitlin Hay close but no cigar, and it looks like tonight she'll have to wait for victory number 2 as Seth Well chases down one for his own, and the National Guard 88, with all this time ahead of him, just has to make sure he cruises to victory. From here on out, it might just be possibility. Nicholas Ward's going to be able to take it down to the white flag himself. Ross Cato going to be up next, and Jacob Fife there in tow. It's going to be one driver in a big battle. That'll be one behind him. Nick Tarbuck right there with Guillermo Alvarez. No, Tarbuck fighting with Boomer Logan that time by, and Logan much slower that time around. Boomer's best lap, a 2:24 on the night, so Logan struggling here on the road circuits, but he'll have a chance to bounce back next time we go racing. It's all far from over for him as Nick Tarbuck makes it by, and the closest battle on the circuit is between Kevin Matz and Don Stevenson. Stevenson recovers to a nice and smooth 13th spot. If he's able to make one more this time by, he might. Bobby Ross gets a bit squirrely. He keeps it going though, and it could be a top 10 for Stevenson after all. Maybe 11th spot is more realistic, but he's getting closer and closer and closer. Don Stevenson out in front, the number 47 machine is, as he holds on strong indeed. Stevenson for the last man on the lead lap, even one lap down, now right in the mix for the top dozen, as Seth Well has about 4.5 seconds on Caitlin Haight once again, and this is almost it. The white flag going to be out here for Seth Well, and rounding the final corners once again, pure dominance. Everyone on his strategy cycle, nobody on his pace, and the level of performance from Seth Well, second to none in Austin, Texas, winning big because everything is indeed bigger in Texas. Seth Well taking it from the road courses in the Integrity Octane Series. Round number 6 is his, and taking a swoop of victory. The Formula One purpose circuit sees a stock car winning, and it's the number 88. Seth Well wins round number 6 for the Circuit of the Americas. And Well wins big in Texas indeed. He's burning it down already. And no hesitation to celebrate on the first turn. He gets it right back going, and it's going to be a long victory lap for him. With all that said and done, Caitlin Haight comes home in second, and then Ryan Farrell finishes there in third. So we have a lot of time to results process. A big battle between Ross Cato and Jacob Fife. Will we see a final lunge? We might just. Nicholas Ward comes down the line in sixth, and this could be it. Ross Cato going to be able to take it down to the inside line. Will Jacob Fife budge? No, he does not. Going to be a drag race, but Jacob Fife gets it in seventh. And Fife going to be able to make it so, as it looks like Cato going to limp down to the line. Nick Tarbuck makes it down to the ninth, and it's going to be Tarbuck right behind Cato by about 3 seconds flat. Guillermo Alvarez has Kevin Matz lunging in one more time. Will Matz make it so? Not that time by, and he'll have to wait till next week for a top 10. Kevin Matz comes home at 11th. Don Stevenson makes it to 12th, and Bobby Ross loses 2 spots, 1 lap. He'll be in 13th. Jorge Canal is going to be in 14th, Majana's going to be in 15th, and every driver coming across the line as we speak. Jay Haishman retires 2 laps prematurely, and that might just be it. We'll get your race results on the board as Seth Well continues to roll through the Circuit of the Americas, and Texas has been his playground, and a great showing from him. How about this for the man in the number 88 as he burns it down in every spot he finds applicable. And backing it up and backing it out once again. It's going to be a long festival of victory for the man in that number 88, Seth Well, taking it to town. And Seth Well winning, of course, 4 seconds ahead of Caitlin Haight. And Ryan Farrell, 26 seconds back, comes home in third. Tom Wetmore, 2 seconds. So close, but no cigar for the 4th spot. He takes it. And Cody Smith comes home in 10th. Well in qualifying, but the race he comes home in 5th with Nicholas Ward 11th to 6th on the night. Jacob Fife qualifies top 5, finishes top 10 and 7th, and Ross Cato comes home in 12th with Nick Tarbuck in 9th, and Guillermo Alvarez 1 minute back in position number 10. I believe your hard charger might just be Tom Wetmore based on this performance. Kevin Matt's going to be in 8th, Don Stevenson going to be there in now the 12th spot, as it's going to be Matt's 8th in qualifying, 11th in the race. Bobby Ross 13th on the board. Jorge Canales going to be 14th. Mott Jonas 15th. Joe Yates going to be in 16th. And then Trevor Trago 17th is Colin Dimmon's 18th. And Guy Petra is 19th, the final driver on the lead lap. Jay Haishman, your first retiree, and then it's going to be Boomer Logan 2 laps down. Randy Fish and John Steele make it all the way, and the retirees go as follows: Stephen Wetton, Alan Dobbs, Kyle Cooper, and Alan Rowell, as the 27th and final man on the board does not make it home, but Seth Well still. And how about that for the man in that number 88 machine? Seth Well holds on, and he holds on strong. Out in front by a wide margin at the end, 4 seconds, and almost making it 5. He came alive and gets it done here in the Circuit of the Americas, round 6. It's his for the taking. And making a lap of burnouts count, I'm pretty sure he's not done. And it looks like the session going to close on him there, as we don't have a read on the man in that number 88, disconnecting as soon as the burnouts are over, and that will be all she wrote. The 88 machine done and done with the celebration, and we'll get him in soon as we can. Seth Well, how about that? He came home with a dominating display of driving, and precision was a must, and he had just that. How about that for the man out in front, winning far ahead? And it was a great showing for him. We'll get a word from the man in the number 88 machine. Seth Well had it made lap after lap. He got closer and closer to the checkered flag, and he made it there without much an issue. Smooth sailing at the end. Seth Well winning from the Circuit of the Americas. How you feeling after 34 laps of racing in, of course, Texas?
Honestly, I feel lucky. Ryan was definitely the fastest car in the last run. He had a couple mistakes. When it mattered, he kept catching back up to me, and then he'd have one little bobble, and then he'd have to make it all up again. But shout out to Ryan. He was fast the last run.
And it seemed like a battle was beginning to brew between you and Ryan Farrell there. The top 3 drivers able to pull away there. So how was it with these top 3 as the competition was very, very intense there? Was it sort of like stepping on eggshells every turn, or was it all about pushing to the max regardless?
No, it's just pushing to the max. We were talking at the end of the stage about the tires. The tires had 0 fall off. So me and Ryan were, I guess, the only 2 that didn't take tires. So us 2 were really fast on that run because tires are really wacky on this car. But yeah, me and Ryan were basically pushing 100% every single lap, pushing to the limit, trying to find every little tenth in every corner, and ended up coming down to the little mistakes.
And it was all about avoiding mistakes, and that is indeed what mattered. So what was it that kept the car for you stable? Because it seems like you were able to keep it on the track without very much of a concern for going off.
I don't know. I don't know. And that just a lot of laps, I guess, last week in NIS kind of prepared me for what's going to happen tonight, even though I didn't have a racing line in here compared to what I had in NIS. So it's a little bit different, but just those reps, kind of being in situations and understanding where I want to be position-wise in certain situations.
And situational awareness appeared to be king here in a road course. Circuit of the Americas, a great one to be at, and of course, coming home on top, a great position to the next race on the schedule. Certainly going to be a much different change of pace, and we'll get our schedule up. Round number 7, it's going to be at Richmond Raceway for 200 laps there. So how do you feel going into that one?
Well, that's a home track, so hopefully that one goes well. See, I don't know if it's a day race or a night race. I don't know. So that'll depend on how we drive the track with the next gen.
And it all remains to be seen, but right now, the road course victory, it goes home to Seth Well. So when it all comes down to it, any final thoughts, anyone else you'd like to thank?
As always, as I say every time I'm in here, thanks to Chad with the National Guard paint. Check it out on Trading Paints. Great paint scheme. Shout out to the Nexus boys. Appreciate y'all. And that's all we got.
And there we have it, Seth Well, top of the board here in the Circuit of the Americas, winning round number 6 with a dominating margin at the tail end. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
And there we have it, Seth Well going to be back on his way there in first and second on the board. Going to be the number 11 machine and Caitlin Hayton running a bit of a different strategy, but making it work nonetheless. Second on the board tonight here in Austin, Texas. How to go down for the driver in that number 11, Caitlin Hayton, let us know.
Pretty much what I said. during the caution break there, I knew Seth was just quicker all around, and it just really showed there on that final run. But I mean, for me to stay within 5 seconds and just actually finish the race with no incident points, I don't know, that feels pretty good. It's not a win, but still pretty good.
And oh, so close to getting one done here in the Circuit of the Americas. A lot of pace in spite of a different strategy. So how was it trying to keep up with those on newer tires? Because it seems like Ryan Farrell gave you a run for your money there until the tail end.
Well, I knew Ryan was, to me, Ryan looked quicker than both Seth and I, so I just let him go at one point just to see if maybe he could like get up to Seth, and then if they start racing, maybe I could just sort of like sneak in there. But unfortunately, he ran into a few problems and just it didn't happen. But I mean, overall, I'm not sure if they actually took tires during the caution or not, because it's such a split strategy right now as to what's actually faster. But I don't know, just being able to hold on there and just have a strong result from start to finish feels pretty good.
And it seems like nonetheless, even though it might not be a victory, a great way to keep the momentum rolling for the number 11 camp. Now, Austin, Texas, we're going to leave it and go down to the south. Richmond up next for 200 laps. How's it going to be there? And of course, Richmond, Virginia.
I mean, it's going to be a lot different, a lot of door-to-door racing, probably a few more cautions, but I mean, once I actually get on track, then I'll know.
And we will see, of course, next time when the number 11 machine gets back on track. The BWT Alpine Toyota comes home runner-up here in Texas. Any final thoughts? Anyone else you'd like to thank?
I guess pretty much like all my fans I guess friends really. They always like to see how I'm doing, so I'll let them all know what happened. And yeah, thanks for broadcasting and everyone at Integrity for putting it on.
And absolutely a great show put on by the driver of the number 11, Caitlin Haight, comes home here in second in round 6 of the Integrity Octane Series season. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
And Caitlin Haight going to be on the way there, the final driver on the podium here tonight, certainly hoping for a bit more. But Ryan Farrell coming home in third here tonight in Austin. An up and down race there at the tail end. How do you feel after this one?
Disappointed, to be honest with you, but it was a good run. Just good points day, if you will, but 2 spots short.
And 2 spots short there at the end, and we saw a bit of an issue with about 5 to go there, and it seems like Seth Well told us at the very least it was all about pushing to 110% at the edge of those tires, and with a bit newer tires that we weren't expecting all too much until the end, as it seems like degradation might have caused that one. How was it, of course, at that final run?
Yeah, it was good. Actually, I didn't change tires. I just let them run out. But I think the big problem was I was doing too many adjustments. Every lap I was adjusting my brake bias per corner. So I think I got mixed up a couple times with that, made mistakes. But I knew I needed to like an edge, so I was messing with my bias too much. And yeah, going up the hill, just got after a little too hard and locked them up in the rear. Slid the car around, tried to gather it, and ended up in the grass. So, it's just frustrating, The last couple laps, I almost had over a second. I didn't know how much faster I was, but almost a second faster. It felt like, or a couple tenths faster every lap. So just frustrating, but a good points day.
And it still was a good points day, able to recover quite nicely with a big cushion outside of the podium. It seems like it was an effort by Tom Whitmer to get up there, but still a third place run on the night. But certainly going to be looking for just a bit more next time we go racing in Richmond. 200 laps there. We're going to have a stage break at lap number 80, so a lot of action to be had next Tuesday night. How you feeling going into it?
Yeah, I like Richmond. I know with these next-gen cars, tire fall-off hasn't been what it is with some other series. So I hope that we get some tire fall off, and you got to save your stuff up a little bit and get long runs at the end. Kind of like we did at Gateway. That was a good run for me too. So, the longer these runs, hopefully you get some good green flag runs where you get some degradation in the tires and make it more fun.
And of course, hoping to see a change of luck here. Looks like Ryan Farrell, despite a bit of a misfortune, tail end, still a podium finish there at the end of the day. Round 6 from the Circuit of the Americas. Ryan Farrell, third on the board. Any final thoughts? Anyone else you'd like to thank?
I want to thank my friends that come and watch me on here, and you guys at the Broadcast Network for putting this on, and of course everybody at Octane or at Integrity puts on the Octane series. It takes a lot of work to get this stuff and everybody on the same page. So I appreciate their efforts and getting everything going. And everybody that ran up front today, you know, Caitlin and Seth, you know, we all ran clean. We had a good time. So appreciate those guys too. And girls.
And a great showing for the 93 machine, putting on a great show in his own right. Ryan Farrell, third on the board here from the Circuit of the Americas. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. See you.
And it looks like I dragged him in just a bit early there, but Ryan Farrell, the final driver on the board here in Texas. And Ryan Farrell indeed makes it there with the driver out in front all the way. Seth Well coming home in first. And he takes it by a wide margin at the end, as you can see him right there coming down to the checkers. Now, Seth Well wins this time around, but next time, Tuesday night, Richmond going to be on the board. 200 laps there. Always certain to be a great racing showcase, as Richmond, one of those great short tracks in the southern scene. We hope to see you all there. Tomorrow night, we're live with the FORL Championship event at Phoenix, the most intense race of the season, and it's anyone's game so far when it comes to the final 4 drivers of James Thurston, Sean Rowe, Max Molina, and the underdog of Ross Corlett. You won't want to miss it tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern. It's the place to be. On a Wednesday night, the FORL Cup Series wrapping up, and on Thursday night, the IORA Cup Series wraps up at Homestead, and that's going to be a great showing as well. It's a championship week live on FTN for Wednesday and Thursday swing, and we hope to see you there for what could be the final races you'll see on a Wednesday and Thursday night in that sense for at least a month or two. The Highline Racing League will prevail on later Thursday nights, but for the most part, you might not see all too much action there, so we'll keep it up to date Mondays and Tuesday nights. You won't miss a thing. It's going to be the Nürburgring of the Night Series, and then it will be Richmond on the Tuesday night run with the Octane Series. You won't want to miss either of which as we wrap this one up here from the Circuit of the Americas. Seth Well gets it done here in the 6th round of the season. We hope you all have a great night, and we thank you all for watching live on FDM. This has been the Integrity Octane Series Round 6 from the Circuit of the Americas, and we thank you all once again for spending your time live on FDN. Thank you all, and have a great night.